Once again, I'm Joe Stevens.
And I am LTT Moose.
And we are here at Las Pegasus Unicon for Everfree
Network. Not Northwest. Come back to the present, Joe.
No,
Come back.
I'm in the
Stop
past.
time skipping.
Okay. Anyways, where was I? Now we're here with Cindy Morrow, our amazing guest and an amazing writer. And more adjectives. As a writer, you could probably describe more adjectives, but we'll just say you're amazing.
Thank you.
You work on the greatest episodes with musical songs on them. We were just saying that you have this weird ability to make earworms. That there's so much lost time in the world that you're responsible for so much people just sitting there listening to Winter Wrap Up constantly and losing the entire day.
I swear I cannot take any credit for invading your head with worms.
Well, they're delightful worms, and I welcome them into my head on a daily basis. And they tell me things. They say happy things, and so that's okay.
That's good.
I'm sorry. So you are a writer for season 3, season 1, and season 2, and you've done some great episodes.
Thank you.
Winter Wrap Up, Bab's Seed recently, and Apple Family Reunion. Again, they seem to. Do they say we're going to do a musical episode? Let's get Cindy in on it. We want to make sure that Cindy's coming in for the musical episodes.
They do pick episodes that they think will work best with a particular writer, and certainly some writers are better at different types of genres of storytelling.
Right.
Do we know who the they are? You know, who makes these decisions?
The Illuminati that look down upon them.
It might be Megan McCarthy, a story editor, or in the first season, Lauren Faust and Rob Renzetti. So we all come up with different ideas, and certainly if they choose your idea, they probably will ask you to write that one because you came up with the idea, and that's going to be your sensibility.
Right. You're the one who has the handle on it, obviously, since you came up with the idea.
Yes, exactly. But I don't necessarily write an episode saying I'm going to put songs in it. Sometimes they're requested, or sometimes I ask, can we do a song?
Right.
Yeah.
And so let's go back to Winter Wrap Up then, because that is a particular episode. I think that's on everyone's favorite list, at least the top 5 list or anything like that. But it's hugely popular. When you went into that storyline, was there an idea of what the song would sound like from the beginning, or did you just sort of we know it's going to be a song about wrapping up winter, and we had to figure out what was going on? What would you envision for that when you were writing the lyrics?
Well, songs are great because they're kind of like montages, right? Well, they are montages. Normally, you can tell a lot of information and get a story rolling in a smaller amount of time. So songs are great for that purpose. And usually montages have music as their background if they don't have lyrics anyway. So in that particular song, actually, I did write a melody to help with the lyrics. It was the first song that I had done for My Little Pony, and every show handles songs differently. So I sent along a melody to Daniel. I don't know if he got it or not, or if he listened to it, and what he wrote wasn't really anything like it.
Do you have the original out on the top of your head that you could sing for
No,
us?
I actually don't at all. It was quite a long time ago.
Right.
And my computer crashed, so some files are missing. It might be in some weird, creepy file somewhere. Some
long forgotten hard drive.
Exactly.
A corrupted data file that will automatically start singing some Winter Wrap Up.
But it was just me tinkering on
Skynet.
It was just me tinkering on the piano. I wasn't singing. I can't sing at all. And then I sent the lyrics. So he always keeps almost all the lyrics. He might drop a couple of words here or there to work with his melody or
the tempo and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Right. Well, you've been a writer throughout the show.
Yes.
You're one of the, we were just talking to Emmy Larson. He was saying that you and him were one of the writers that have just been always there. Not, Amy Rogers left in season 3. Now she's coming back, but you guys have been the consistent ones. What's it been like seeing these characters grow and see these characters change and being able to work with them and make them change and grow in the development from season 1 to season 3 and now 4?
Well, growing is really important, changing. It's inevitable. It has its positive and its negatives. It's like, when you listen to a rock band and you love their first album and you hate their sophomore album, and then in the third album they come back and they reclaim your love. It's just like that. Growing is, it's a must. So, and they're called growing pains for a reason. So some growing is amazing and some growing is difficult, and it's all part of the process.
Right.
Growing is good.
Do you enjoy working more like the episodic style, or do you think that, especially, on something like this that could eventually turn into a long runner, following these characters and following their growth and change and having almost a story arc to follow?
Well, if you are going to continue writing season after season, I think it's absolutely imperative that you know what's going on. Especially viewers don't like finding holes here and there. So, I mean, it really is important to keep up your knowledge of the show, watch all the episodes, read the scripts, just make sure that you're kind of following that. So, did I answer your question? Did I
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Sure, I went on a tangent there, so.
And so, as you know, every writer seems to have their own particular strengths in the different episodes, and everyone, all the writers tend to like say which character they like, which one they kind of gravitate towards. Is there any particular character that you really like writing for, and a character that you just say, "Oh, I struggle with that one, but I'm going to make it even better now," because you've been able to probably write an extensive amount for every character.
I think I have written a little bit for every character. I think Rainbow Dash is probably the easiest to write for because she's the most like me, I would say. I think Rarity is a difficult character to write for because I'm not really great with accents or, different styles of language. So she's been difficult. And Megan pointed out that sometimes Applejack can be difficult because she's sort of the straight man, straight pony.
The straight pony.
And sometimes, you don't want, the straight pony is essential, but they come off sometimes being the scapegoat for,
Almost a Deus Ex Machina. Okay, well, we'll just let Applejack fix it.
Right, exactly. And, and you always find, why does everybody like the villain the most? Because they're, have the most unique personalities.
They're the dynamic ones. They're the ones who initiate the conflict. Yeah.
But you need that straight pony too.
Right. And one new character that came on board, you've been able to introduce a new character to us, Babseed.
Yes.
So that's a fun character that we were able to introduce. Now, what went involved in creating Babseed in that episode?
The actual creation of Babseed, well, we had to have a character that was going to come from far, far away that nobody really knew, and she had to, be kind of a bully, and I don't know how it came about that she was going to have. Is it a Brooklyn accent? Or something?
I think that it wandered all over the island, but I
It's a
think they
mix
settled on
between
Bronx.
Boston and Brooklyn, I think, is sort of like the mix.
Somewhere far away. So, she was fairly simple. As a writer, I mean, I've been a storyboard artist before. That was my career before I went to script writing, and I really appreciate the creativity and the efforts of storyboard artists. And I think it's totally essential for the benefit of a show to allow artists to be the best artists they can. So, depending on a show, I think it's important for a writer to know when to add a lot of detail and when to pull back. And My Little Pony was blessed with such an incredible production team that sometimes I felt like I didn't need to be so, minute and detailed about a character because I knew they would bring more.
So you knew we had to make this cousin bully kind of person, and that the DHX would handle the details of really making that character with the dialogue and everything, just pull it all together.
Yes, and also, you have to give credit to the voice actor, let them do their job too.
Right, and I would just on the Babsy, that little poof on her bangs that she does. I think was that a direction? That's DHX.
That's always a character design, direction. I don't give directions on how characters should look unless it's totally important to, like if they're missing a leg,
right?
If it's really important or they have no hair, that sort of thing. But otherwise, like I said, depending on the show, sometimes you get direction from an editor that says, you really need to be as down to the camera direction. You really need to be detailed. And I have not found that I need to micromanage My Little Pony scripts like that.
Right. And then the following episode, we had Babseed return, actually, in the same season.
How amazing was that?
We were just talking to Marika Hegnerschk, and she's been a villain since season 1, and she hadn't come back. And so we had a villain in season 3 come back in the same one.
It just worked out that way because Apple Bloom needed to have someone with her at the reunion. I mean, it's kind of just natural. Who would come to reunion?
It kind of makes sense.
Apple
You wouldn't have
family
Sweetie
members.
Belle and Scootaloo there because they're not the family.
Reunion, yeah.
Right.
So it just made sense that she would come back. Yeah.
And then we had another fantastic song, "Raise This Barn," and everything.
That was that's probably my favorite.
That was your
song.
favorite?
I think so, yeah.
Because it's very, it's a really country song. And
It's a hoedown. It's a
hoedown.
line dance.
It's not a country song.
square
It's
dance.
a square dance.
Because you've got the counting and
Yes,
everything.
yes. It's meant to be repetitive. In case anybody wants to know, that's what square dances are. They're repetitive because you're doing dance moves and you need to kind of do the same dance moves. So
Right. That was almost in a completely different zone of songs because the other songs, they seem to be musical, different Broadway style. The other one, you could almost see a hint of Broadway in a lot of the other ones.
There was, there's also, like orchestral stuff. There's also like the throwbacks to the like almost like Josie and the Pussycats from Bab Seeds. So yeah,
But this one, it was almost like you felt that it was a gamble, but that paid off to do a country song in there. Did it feel like it was a challenge to do that? That it was something completely different, or was it fun to be able to do something different?
I never worried that it would not work out because
Daniel's in charge, right?
I mean, yeah, it seems everything he does for My Little Pony turns to gold, right? I mean, it's just...
Well, and every lyric that you write is gold, and all he does is polish it into a pretty show.
Let's not give Daniel Ingram too much praise here. Yeah. All right? We don't want to get in a big head here.
It's a Daniel Ingram praise show.
I'm sure that he's plenty capable of writing lyrics as well. It's just that he's not right there in the beginning at the writing stage. So I personally knew what needed to happen in that song. The barn had to get raised.
Right.
So.
Hence the title.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Well, we need to winter wrap up this interview a little bit. So, you've had a chance to be able to see the community, and we thank you so much for this interview and for being able to be involved with the community. Is there anything you want to say to the fans who have absolutely loved your work? Sing along to it. You can't walk into a con without singing. I remember the first thing we saw yesterday morning was the army guy that dressed up as Snowflake singing Winter Wrap Up with the whole group, and it was 8 o'clock in the morning. Better than a shot of espresso.
These things, they have lasted, and it's at every convention that we have gone to, and it's at every place where Pony is brought up. These songs perpetuate. I mean, these things have staying power.
Well, of course, I want to thank all of you for supporting the show. And I think that something that you guys have formed here is so special to find a community that you all can bond together with. And I would say, no matter what happens to the show, whether you love it or you end up hating it or things change, you have each other, and don't lose that, because it's so important to find a group of people that you can relate to, because growing up is hard.
It's so good to hear that from you, because the show has united people in so many ways, and we're so thankful that we see the passion, that you guys care, and we care that you care, and we all big caring family.
We care that you care.
And we care about that caring, and thus the caring continues in an entire in a recursive process.
Let's finish our holiday cheer, and we'll continue on to raise this barn of the.
Get out, man! Get out while you still can! Quickly!
All right, I don't want to be a Bab Seed, so I'm going to end it up with. I'm Joe Stevens.
And I'm LTT Moose.
We've been interviewing Cindy Morrow. This is the Equestrian Choir for Everfree Network at Las Pegasus Unicon.
It's not classy anymore.
It is always classy. Episodes with musical songs on them. We were just saying that you have this weird ability to make earworms. That there's so much lost time in the world that you're responsible for so much people just sitting there listening to Winter Wrap Up constantly and losing the entire day.
I swear I cannot take
it.
Stop time skipping.
Okay. Anyways, where was I? Now we're here with Cindy Morrow, our amazing guest and an amazing writer, and more adjectives. As a writer, you could probably describe more adjectives, but we'll just say you're amazing.
Thank you.
You work on the greatest, and you've done some great episodes.
Thank you.
Winter Wrap Up, Bab Seed recently, and Apple Family Reunion. Again, they seem to. Do they say we're going to do a musical episode? Let's get Cindy in on that. We want to make sure that Cindy's coming in for the musical episodes.
They do pick.
Once again, I'm Joe Stevens.
And I am LTT Moose.
And we are here at Las Pegasus Unicon for Everfree Network.
Not Northwest. Come back to the present, Joe. Come back.
Any credit for invading your head with worms?
Well, they're delightful worms, and I welcome them into my head on a daily basis. And they tell me things. They say happy things, and so that's okay.
That's good.
I'm sorry. So you are a writer for season 3, season 1, and season 2.